Welcome back to another video from the Debate Room podcast. As you can tell by the title, we're doing our first NBA mock draft after we know the order of the NBA draft lottery. So the NBA draft lottery was a few hours ago now. I think it was at like 6 or whatever. It's 3 hours later.
Yeah,
I
six
had work,
six
so
until 7 Eastern.
yeah, I had work, so we couldn't get like right on it. I wish we could have, bro. It was one of the most exciting lotteries I've ever seen. Probably the most exciting. Obviously, the one where Wemby went number one was a little bit more exciting because it's Wemby, like he's the best prospect we've seen since LeBron or whatever. But this one was exciting because so many like decent, good teams actually jumped up to like the top four. We've seen the Sixers, who
Oh,
only were bad this year because Joel Embiid was injured. They moved into the top three. The Spurs were going to be a playing team before Victor Wembanyama went down, and they have Victor. They moved into the top two, and then number one pick is crazy.
I
Dallas
don't think I've
number one pick.
I don't think I've ever seen the prospect, like the number one prospect, look so intrigued. Like Cooper was like when they kept cutting him after every camera break, whatever, he was like shocked. But two, imagine like so you got a 25% chance to go to any of those top four teams, right? How much of a worse destination is Charlotte than any of those? Like, if you go to Philly, okay, you're fine. You got JoJo, you can do something. If you have San Antonio, you got Wemby. If you go to Dallas, it's Dallas. You got Kyrie, you got AD. If you go to Charlotte, like the relief he must have had seeing Charlotte get four, like just wildly different than the other three teams that were in that top four. It was crazy. Definitely rigged though.
You hear them
Definitely
Discord sounds? You hear that?
Yes, yes.
Bro, how do I turn that shit off?
Definitely rigged though. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Hold on. Let me try to turn it off. But
Adam told Nico like, yo, take some shit for like a couple months and I'll get you Cooper Flag in return. And then boom.
yeah, bro. Nico Harrison looks like a genius now. Like, I don't think there's any way there is no way he could have known that he was gonna get the number one pick in
Yeah,
the
sure.
when he traded for Luka back in like February, March. But
Oh god.
would you rather have Flag on a rookie deal and Anthony Davis, a first round pick, and Max Christie, or would you rather have Luka on a super max deal? Who would you
I
rather
mean, as
have?
it stands right now, I'm taking the guy who took me to a finals last year. So I get it. But
In
AD did
hindsight,
get injured.
you would still rather have Luka?
Like AD got injured in his first game. I don't know what AD's gonna give me for the rest of the time. I know Luka got me to the finals. I know Luka put me in the finals last year. Trust me, it looks like he's a smart guy now, which is so stupid, but it's whatever. All right, let's hop in this mock.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely rather have Flag and those assets with AD over Luka on a supermax because I think you save so much money with Flag on a rookie scale contract, and you can try to build a roster around him.
Yeah, I get it.
You can try to trade AD if you want to, and build around Flag even more. But this team is going to be a championship contender when they get healthy. And they got the next.
If they get healthy.
If they can get healthy, they have.
Not when.
They get healthy, they have a championship level roster, and you got Flag for the next 10, 15 years. So that's a win.
But if is the question. We're going off AD. Kyrie's got a long knee injury, and again, these two guys are not in their they're not in their prime. They're still like going towards the out of their prime. Like they're definitely on the deep side.
Still insane. I mean,
Agree. And you can make moves. You can make moves along the margins.
They built a great roster around Luka. Like that was a championship level roster.
But because Luka was so amazing, like in his role, like Flag will not have that first jump in the first 2 years.
I wonder if Fanspo has already updated. Let's see.
It is. I'm on it. You're good.
Great. All right, let me get this screen.
I was gonna say you can go one, I'll go two. 1 and 2 are done. So do you want to go first or you want me to go first? It really doesn't matter.
You can go first. I'll give you the first pick.
All right. So
wait. Let me get on the screen first, man. Calm down. Hold your horses.
It's obvious. We all know where it's going. With the first overall pick, they are selecting VJ Edgecombe.
All right, man. You know the drill. Mavericks on the clock.
With the first overall pick, the Dallas Mavericks will obviously select Cooper Flagg. Yeah, I think you look at it going forward. Cooper's 19. Yeah, Cooper's 19 right now. Yeah, 19 years old. Showed insane versatility on both sides. Showed a polished game at Duke. Shot the ball well. Could defend multiple positions. Like he's obviously everything you want in a prospect. And putting him next to Anthony Davis and a play creator like Kyrie Irving, having the sound role players on that team. They have shooters. They have defense. They have whatever you like. They have. I think the only other thing they might need is another play creator. You might need another point guard, another table setter. But past that, Cooper Flagg is getting everything in Dallas. You really have. This might be the best situation a first overall pick has ever come into, pretty easily. I think that when you really look at the situation, like again, when healthy, we were picking this team or looking at this team as they could still make a push to the Western Conference Finals. They could still maybe even go to the finals if their defense was as advertised. So I think Cooper Flagg going here seems way too good to be true for Dallas fans, for Dallas as a franchise. But yeah, it's an obvious first overall pick.
Yeah. Hey man, the Dallas Mavericks fans, they definitely deserve this.
Yes,
They
yes,
got
the
their
fans deserve
hearts,
it. The GM does
yes,
not. The fans deserve it. Yes, I agree.
they just got their hearts ripped out a few months ago, and now the future looks bright again. Now that you got Cooper Flagg,
Agreed.
they don't have their draft picks, I think, from 2026 to 2030. But again, trading AD is now off the table. You have so much more flexibility now. And obviously you have a championship level roster if it's healthy. And Cooper Flagg can be a big piece of that in his rookie year. He's that good. Where he can be, I think, an elite level role player in his rookie year on this team. So yeah, this team is going to be great early right now and great going forward with Cooper Flagg. So there's not much to say about Cooper Flagg. We know how great he is, all the things he can do. He needs to work on his handle. He needs to work on his finishing in the half court as far as on layups. Outside of that, he can put on some weight, but he's a really, really good prospect. I think he is the best prospect we've seen since Anthony Davis as far as American prospects. It's not really much to say about him. So Cooper Flagg, obviously, number one, that's a no-brainer. Now, number two, it gets a little tricky. It gets a little tricky because
Stop it.
I know that I think Dylan Harper is the second best player in his draft class, or whatever. And we're not doing trades in this video, so obviously,
okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you're thinking trades, it's the only option here. I honestly don't think that there's like any way you can convince me into thinking that Dylan Harper's not the pick otherwise.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, I did build a trade. I'm not gonna say it on. I'm not gonna use it in the draft, but I just want to say this. I think that the Spurs have to look at making a trade for Giannis right now. They have some of the best assets in the entire NBA, and Giannis has expressed that he may be moving on from the Bucks. I think they can do that while still keeping the number 2 overall pick, because if Giannis decides he wants to leave Milwaukee and he tells them that, Milwaukee's leverage goes down a lot. And I think the Spurs, I think the Bucks can still get a pretty good haul for him. I think what they should do is draft Dylan Harper, number 2, and then trade Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Stephon Castle, and 4 first-round picks for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That gives them a timeline where they can compete right now with Giannis, De'Aaron Fox.
Are one of those first-round picks this year's?
Yeah, yes, the 14th overall pick. That gives them a timeline where they can compete right now with De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, Giannis, and still have a very good young core around Dylan Harper and Wemby going forward once Giannis ages and once De'Aaron Fox ages a bit. They have so many assets where they can do the 2 timeline thing and actually work. Like, it will actually work. It's not like the Warriors thing when they try to do 2 timeline thing and it didn't work, but they can actually do that in this draft class. The Spurs have so much flexibility with their assets right now. It's insane. They can go any way right now, and you can't really like doubt it. But I would definitely try to trade for Giannis while he's available, because a player of his caliber doesn't just come available ever. It's like once in a generation type of thing. So you have to capitalize it right now, while you probably have the best package in the NBA outside of maybe the Thunder. But yeah. But with that being said, though, with the second overall pick, the Spurs are with the second overall pick, the Spurs are going to select Dylan Harper. If they decide to keep Castle, Fox, and Harper, it would be super weird. But who knows? Maybe it can work. I think their skill sets don't complement each other at all. Like a lot of all those guards they want to get to the paint. They want to create for others. More so Castle and Harper. But all of them are probably below average shooters at the current moment. So yeah, I don't really like the fit between all them three, but for me, it's a no-brainer. If you have to choose between Castle and Harper, you're going Harper. He's a much better prospect. He could damn near be better than Harper. He can damn near be better than Castle day one when he touches the NBA. I know Castle just won a Rookie of the Year. The reason I want to trade him is because you can probably convince a team that he has a star level outcome somewhere in his future and convince him of that, and you get Giannis back in the package. But anyways, Harper, super good prospect in my opinion. I think he's a good athlete. I think he is really good at getting to the paint and to the rim. His main issues are that he does not have a reliable pull-up jump shot right now, and that kind of limits his ceiling as a primary creator. Good thing though, he doesn't need to be a primary creator on his team. He can be, he can work off the ball, coming off dribble handoffs, cutting, shooting spot up threes, all that type of stuff. He can do that if he plays next to De'Aaron Fox because Fox and Dylan Harper pairing, I think that can work. And he'll be playing with Wemby as well. So he's going to have to be the main focus of a team's offense going forward. So I think that bodes really well for his game. Like I said, he needs to improve as a pull-up shooter from three and from the mid-range. He needs to work on his release point because it's super low. He needs to work on his footwork. But he's really good at creating for others. I don't think he is like the greatest passer playmaker. He's more of a reactive playmaker. So he profiles to me as a big combo guard. And he also is very good at taking care of the ball. He had very high usage with a low turnover rate. So that his handle is probably the best in the class as well. So he's a super dynamic piece. He can play on and off the ball. And I think because of his size and wingspan, he also has a decent steal rate that he can be a plus defender if he scaled down on offense. On this team, he'll be scaled down on offense. He wouldn't have to, have the 30% usage or nothing like that. So in a scaled down role as a secondary, tertiary creator, I think the shooting bodes well for him off the ball. I think the cutting bodes well for him off the ball. And I think the defense can be improved if he has a less offensive load. So, yeah, love the pick for the Spurs at number 2. Second best player in the draft, in my opinion. Let him develop over the next few years. Besides Fox, maybe you keep CP3. Don't know. And let him develop over these years. And then once Fox is done, once Giannis is done, he can hit the next gear as a star. He'd probably be like, 23, 24, 25 by then. Still very, relatively long, entering his prime, ready to take that next step. So, yeah.
Am I good?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I know.
All right. With the third overall pick.
You didn't have something about Dylan Harper?
I said before, again, I understand what you're saying about the fit. I do think that at one side, my fault. It is a pretty weird fit, having those three guards next to each other. But I think if you're still putting yourself in the Giannis kind of contention, I think it gets to an issue where some teams draft for fit. They draft for, I guess, overall value. Having the number 2 overall pick, though, you need to pick the best player available. So I think in this situation, you have to pick Dylan Harper. I think especially because a lot of people see him as the far and away the second best prospect. When you have a guy like Wemby, why not put, again, just as much talent around him as possible? I think you figure out the fits later. You have a lot of pieces that work. But let me go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the third overall pick, Philadelphia will select Ace Bailey. I think in a perfect world for Philadelphia, I think he turns out to be a more dynamic Michael Porter Jr. I know that's a pretty common comparison made, but I think Philly had a really, really tough time this year with scoring the basketball when PG and Joel Embiid were obviously not playing her in the game. They need more scoring. They need more shooting off the bench. And I think to get a 6'10" wing, again, like Michael Porter type build, to help elevate the overall offensive game of your team, I think you get Ace Bailey. You don't always want him to put the ball on the floor. His shot diet can be a little nasty at times, but I think playing with so many offensive creators will let Ace Bailey come off screens, get to his spots, and you kind of put him in a situation to succeed. I think that his intangibles bode pretty well on defense as well. I think he could become a pretty good team defender, definitely above average for his position, especially. But I think that overall, you're taking him off his elite scoring ability because maybe PG doesn't work out. It's all said and done, like in a really, maybe this all just spirals out terribly. You need someone to do the role PG was going to step in and do. You need someone to score the basketball and help take that scoring load off of Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. And that's why you draft Ace Bailey right here. I think his offensive game, besides the only other name I was looking at was Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson, I think, his offensive game, again, he's got no defense, which is why I don't want to go with him here. I think that with this Sixers team, I think you're trying to be as dynamic as possible. I think if they re-sign Quentin Grimes, you got defense, you have some score. Like, you can go get some defensive pieces, but Ace Bailey provides elite scoring potential that I don't think you can really pass up at 3 when you weren't even supposed to be picking in the top 3.
I don't know about elite scoring potential, but what I will say though,
what do you in this draft? Is he not one of the best? Like, had one of the highest ceilings for his scoring ability?
I don't know if it's elite scoring. What is elite
in this draft? I think he has one of the highest ceilings for scoring the basketball.
Maybe. I'm talking about in this grand scheme of things in the NBA.
I'm talking about in the grand scheme of this draft because we got to go draft.
Yeah, fine. What I will say though is I think this is an ideal situation for Ace Bailey.
For sure.
I don't want him to be drafted into a situation where he is the number one scoring option. I don't think his ball handling is to the level where he needs to be the number one scoring option. I don't think his ability to get to the rim is at the level you need it to be for him to be a number one scoring option. I don't think his shot selection is where it needs to be for him to be the number one scoring option. So if he can come into the 76er situation in a scale down role, I really, really like it because if he's a movement shooter that can offer some help side rim protection and some defense and some vertical spacing and catch lobs and stuff like that, then yes, really good move. And he's also super young. The Sixers don't have a lot of talent, so they can probably convince themselves that after Embiid is done playing and like him and Maxey will be the future of the franchise or whatever. Him, Maxey, McCain, future of the franchise, add some more pieces onto there. He says he looks up to Paul George, so he'll be learning from Paul George, which can be pretty good for him. I think Paul George is still, a great player, obviously. Paul George said that he thinks Ace is better than Paul George said that he thinks Ace is better than Cooper Flagg a few months ago. So it's kind of coming full circle. But when you think about it, he can come in and be the fourth option in a scale down role. I think that can have him learn some pretty good habits. And if he is a off-ball shooter that provides defense and transition play and some athleticism, that's good for the Sixers. So I like the pick. And maybe if you can work on the handle, add strength, he can be a better on-ball creator. But I think this is an ideal situation for Ace Bailey. So I like it. I would have thought about drafting CMB here, but, I don't think the NBA teams are going to do that. I'm just talking about what I would do.
I think you're trading back. I don't think anyone's honestly going to take Colin Murray-Boyles at 3.
Yeah, no one will. Number 4 is an interesting situation because I think this team needs a center. I'm pretty sure they're going to trade Mark Williams because they tried to trade him in the season and then it didn't work. I don't know how they repair that relationship. It will be super weird for them to repair this relationship. But they keep him. I can see them taking VJ Escom here. So
you got to make the choice. I'd say with pieces at hand, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, isn't Mark Williams about to be
2 years?
Does he have? I think isn't his year to get extended or something?
They got Nurkic, bro. They're fine.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna do it. With the 4th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets are going to select Kamen Maluach. I believe that Kamen is going to come in. Kaman. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. I think Kaman is going to come in and be a rim protecting big. He's shown some signs that he can shoot the ball as well. He has a really nice touch from the free throw line, has a really nice touch in the rim. I think he actually shot well from mid-range as well on like the non-rim twos. And in the African League he played in the Olympics, he showed signs of post-up game, face-up game, mid-range shooting, three-point shooting. So he just started playing basketball 6 years ago. He still has a lot of untapped potential, but I think even his baseline is a really quality starter. If he can, hit his medium outcome, he's going to give LaMelo a really strong lob threat, a really good screener, a really good roller, and he's going to be able to protect the rim. I don't think that the Hornets are going to be staying with. I don't think they're going to be staying with Mark Williams going forward. But if they do, I'll probably go in a different direction. But I don't think they are, and I think Kamal Maluach is a top 5 prospect in his class, so I'm fine with pairing him up with LaMelo. That I think him with like LaMelo or Trey or something like that is going to do the best for his career. He needs a point guard that can get him the ball in the pick and roll, and I think LaMelo will be fine doing that. So yeah.
I don't mind the pick. They went with Saloon last year, who again I think got really, really limited minutes. So you don't know what you got there. But I mean, you could honestly convince me a lot of different ways with this Hornets team. Again, with the injuries to LaMelo, you need a lot of creation time at times because he is not playing. Obviously, when Brandon Miller 2 years ago, who's shown signs of being a pretty good offensive wing. I don't know. I think he has defensive intangibles, but he could develop. But I mean, I think you get a lockdown center, arguably the best center prospect in this class. It's just like it doesn't wow me. But again, I don't think it's like Charlotte could really do anything, and I wouldn't be surprised. So I think that they address a need for sure, especially when you're about to give him Mark Williams anyways. You try your best to put some sort of lob threat pairing with LaMelo. But just again, this team is so far away from contention that they are so many pieces away from like really doing anything impactful for me. At 5, just I think for the value here, Utah's a team where I think they are the only team in this draft. They could go any position, and you can convince me. I could be convinced that they can draft any position, at all. Like I think.
Yeah, so we're only going to do the lottery. We had to.
Sorry. Yeah, little technical difficulties, but back to it. You could really convince me Utah's going anywhere, and I believe you. Jordan Clarkson, not safe. Colin Sexton, not safe. Lauri Markkanen, not safe. And those are kind of the best players on your team currently. I'm probably going to stray away from the front court just because I think, again, especially if a guy like Maluach is gone, unless they love Derek Queen, but you got Walker Kessler. You spent money on John Collins and Lauri Markkanen. You got Flip last year. You got Taylor Hendricks. You got to have a crowded front court. So I think just strictly for the value and for the sake of trying just to hit on a draft pick to draft a star, with the 4th overall pick, the Utah Jazz will go with VJ Edgecombe from Baylor.
The 5th.
With the 5th overall pick, the Utah Jazz will select VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. I think you're looking at other players here. Do you go with a Yakachonis? Do you go for more of a point guard kind of role? I don't think it really matters. I think whether you go Trey Johnson, whether you go with Jeremiah Fears, I think if they love his upside, could obviously go here. I think VJ's ceiling offensively and defensively, like I just think they need something. They need a playmaker. They need someone to kind of put butts in seats at this point in time. And I think VJ Edgecombe, from what he showed at Baylor, can be that flashy star kind of player that you want on your team. Obviously, he has his posterizing dunks, whatever, but I think VJ can be a dynamic scorer in this league. I think he can defend well and play next to a couple different players on this team. But I just think he's a guy you can give the ball to, especially when Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton are gone, and hope that he can just get your team a bucket. But I think this team is just so far away, again, from any sort of contention. They just need to try and go for upside. I think VJ poses a lot.
Yeah, I like it. I would probably want VJ on a team where he doesn't have to be like one of the lead ball handlers. Maybe he doesn't have to be that on the Jazz. If you like Isaiah Collier, you like Keontae George. I don't really like neither one of those players that much. But VJ, I think
is you don't like Keontae George?
I like Keontae George in the draft. I was a big fan of his.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not a great NBA player. He's not a great NBA player. I respect that.
So.
But VJ, I think, is going to provide, I think, good point of attack defense. He's going to provide spot up shooting. He's going to be able to get you buckets in transition. He's going to get you offensive rebounds. His motor is really good. My questions with him concerning around his handle, his finishing in the half court, his touch around the rim is not the best. He needs to learn how to decelerate. Yeah, it's basically just his half court play. He was a bit of an inconsistent shooter this year in college, but he was a solid shooter in high school. He's going to be a 99 percentile athlete, so that gives you a ceiling, a lot of opportunities, a lot of possibilities because you have that ceiling as an athlete. He just needs to work on his handle. He needs to work on putting on weight. He's not going to be a very switchable big. The combine did him really well. I think he's like 6'4", with a plus wingspan, so he kind of measured out decently well at the combine, so that'll help him. I'll be interested to see how Will Hardy uses him on offense because he's an imaginative offensive coach. So it'd be pretty fun. I think VJ's a fun prospect. I like him to like Charlotte, where he can be a tertiary ball handler or something like that. After Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball and stuff like that. So I think this is arguably the best player available for the Jazz. So I like it. It's cool. Next up, we have the Wizards. Wizards are an interesting team. They have theoretically a lot of like great young talent on the team. They got Bub. They got
theoretically.
I mean, I'm not the highest in the core.
I like Bub though.
They got Bub. They got Bilal. They got Sar. They got
AJ Johnson.
Sean George. Sorry, pronouncing your name wrong. I think I know what I'm going to do. I mean, he's damn near a hometown kid. With the 6th overall pick, the Wizards are going to select Derek Queen.
You're playing at the 4?
Yeah, I'll put him at the 4. The thing with Derek Queen is he is a really skilled big man. He has great footwork. I think he's a good passer. Better than the numbers show because he played next to another 5 with Angel Reese's brother, Julian Reese, I think his name is.
Yes, Julian Reese.
His issues is that my thing with Derek Queen is the offense going to be good enough to the point where you feel good about building a team around him because you need a lot of defense around him. You just generally are. So that's my real question. Like, is this offense going to be good enough for you to invest a lot of your assets into building a great defense around him? Because I don't think he's going to be a good rim protector. I think he was solid on the perimeter, but I think he's going to have to exclusively guard fours. That's it. But again, let me talk about more of the stuff he's good at. His ability to handle the ball at his size is pretty good. I think he's going to be about 6'10" in shoes. He also has great coordination. He's a really good passer, like I already mentioned. He's a good rebounder as well. I think he'll shoot it. I think he will. He had the attempts this year, some solid attempts. The percentages weren't great. Let me check on his free throw shooting because I generally don't remember now. Let's look real quickly. So let me look at some of his shooting indicators. He also was really good at drawing fouls too, which is like a sign of you being a star or whatever. 76% from the free throw line. That's pretty good for a big man, in my opinion. He has nice touch around the rim as well. What was the 3-point percentage? He shot 20% from 3 on 1.8 3-point attempts per 100 possessions. So the shooting is an uphill battle. I don't know if he will shoot it, but he's a highly skilled, offensive big, really good driver. And I think you need to pair him with a rim protecting center, and that's what Al-Sar is. You need to, theoretically, Al-Sar is a rim protecting big that can protect the rim and also shoot. Theoretically. So I think this is a decent fit for him, one of the better fits for him in this class. And I think he's talented. My question is going to be, is the offense good enough? Is it good enough for you to have to invest this much defensively in him to make him like a quality starter or a star level player or all-star level bet? So it's interesting. It's a risk for sure. Some people won't like it, but yeah, Derek Queen at 6. He's from Baltimore, Washington, D.C., up the street. This would be a really home run pick, in my opinion, in that terms, in that aspects for the Wizards.
I don't mind him playing the 4. I think it could work for sure.
Yes,
he's got a dynamic offensive game. He's got to develop that 3-ball more. He shot it in college. He just wasn't great with it, but his post moves are good. He can shoot on the mid range. He can drive a little bit. He's got a little game to him. This is probably the worst pick in the draft for me. I went Yakachonis here last time, and I'm really fighting the urge to not do it again. But I think that overall, you don't know what the world's going to look like without Zion Williamson if they do end up trading him. So again, this is when I think you got to go with upside and you got to take a swing. So with number 7, the New Orleans Pelicans will go with Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma. I think that you need, like, again, I think if I'm the Pelicans right now, DeJounte Murray is not part of my long-term future. TJ McCollum is not part of my long-term future. And it's starting to feel like Zion Williams is not part of my long-term future. I really think that if you're looking at this draft, I don't want to draft a complimentary piece to Zion if I'm already thinking about trading in this offseason. I was looking at Kasparis. I think that his playmaking could be very helpful for a team for a Zion-led team in a pick and roll. But you need someone to help take the scoring load off of Zion. Fears can be a 3-level scorer. He showed signs of being a very clutch player in college. Played in big moments. It wasn't really projected to obviously be the player that he is right now. 6'4", kind of mid-sized point guard, but he can shoot the ball when he wants. He's got a little size and versatility to him, and I think that he poses a great 1-2 punch with Zion if you end up keeping him. The playmaking is the only thing where I think the playmaking, the passing can come it could still come a little bit of a ways to help develop next to Zion, whether you have him in the pick and roll. I think when you're looking like so many of these teams at the bottom of the draft, I think are like inched in hell right now and really need to try like swinging at picks. And I think this draft has a lot of guys with high upside. So I think, again, maybe you go Trey Johnson if you think that his game is a little more polished in the offensive level. But I think Jeremiah Fears has potential to be point guard of the future for your team, in a team where they've been looking for a point guard for years.
I really want Jeremiah Fears to be good. He's from Illinois. I've seen him play in person a few times. So I like to say I've seen NBA players play before they got to the NBA. I just like to say that. I want Fears to be good though. I really do. My thing is with Fears is, and there's a lot of context around Fears. Fears was really, really good at getting 2 feet in the paint. He's one of the fastest players in this draft. He has one of the best handles in this draft. He's also one of the youngest players in this draft. He got to the rim and he draw fouls at a really high rate. Those are some of the positive things about him, along with his age. He also was a really good free throw shooter. That's another positive thing about him. And he also produced decently well in one of the hardest conferences in college basketball history in the SEC. Again, while being one of the youngest players in the class. My problem with him is, one, his finishing at the rim was just bad. It really was. He turned the ball over a lot as well, which you kind of could expect from, again, a very young point guard playing in the highest level of competition that you can in college basketball last year. But I think he is a high upside pick. Like it's a boomer bust pick for me.
For sure.
Because I think his floor can be relatively low because he's not going to be an elite shooter. And then you kind of get wary of drafting these guards, Max, that are like 6'3", 6'2", and not elite shooters because they have a ceiling. They have a ceiling. They do. Look at John Morant. Look at John Morant. Who he's not.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about VJ?
No. I'm talking about in general, as far as like team building, right?
Who else did I draft?
No, I'm talking about in general, like people as a drafting philosophy. You kind of get wary of drafting these 6'2", 6'3" guards that are not elite shooters, don't have like elite athleticism or something like that. Because I feel like they kind of do have a ceiling, and the floor can get really, really low. Like if he had
Jalen Brunson, who again their experience, he was never like an elite shooter. He was a good scorer.
One of the best shot makers in the NBA, bro.
Huh?
Jalen Brunson is one of the best shot makers in the NBA. Jalen Brunson also stayed 4 years in college, so he's really polished coming out.
The 4 years in college, yes. But to my belief, though, he was not a sniper in college.
He was a pretty good shooter in college. He was a very efficient player in college too. He was efficient. My fear with Jeremiah Fears is that the shooting never gets good enough, which I think he has some decent shooting indicators, really high free throw percentage. The attempts were like the volume of the attempts were decent. The form looks good. So I'm pretty sure he could be a good shooter. But the defense is also, I think, is pretty bad. The defense is. He's not the best playmaker. It definitely grow as his time at Oklahoma improve as far as him, playmaking in the pick and roll. It's a really like it's a boomer bust pick for me. I wouldn't be mad at it, but he has some really really red flags. He has some really red flags. I would say so myself. He has some green flags too, some things you can bank on, but the turnovers are really high. The finishing at the rim is really high. He doesn't profile as an elite shooter. So I don't really know like if he's gonna be a star, is what I'm saying. But all right, I'm back at number 8 for the Nets, and there are a few picks on this board. You got Casper still at 8 here. You got Trey still at 8 here. You got Con Canuple. I'm going to draft Con Canuple. I'm really high on him. With the 8th overall pick, the Nets are going to select Con Canuple. Con Canuple is arguably the best shooter in the draft class, maybe outside of Trey Johnson. I think he offers some secondary playmaking. He showed that at Duke. He was really masterful in the pick and roll with Kamal Maluach. And he was also masterful in the pick and roll with Cooper Flagg. His off-ball shooting is amazing. His ability to play off 2 feet when getting to the rim off of pin downs, curls, or cutting is amazing. The defense was solid. I don't think he's going to be a good defender in the NBA, but I think he provides a baseline as a really good role player. I think he can be someone you build with, and he potentially has more upside than what he's shown at Duke in a lower role because he wasn't asked to do much with the great team they had and other ball handlers they had. But he did show the ability to play smart and pass the ball really efficiently. Again, come off these off-ball actions and finish at the rim. He's also pretty strong and stocky. So he kind of reminds me like if everything works out as a Desmond Bane type of player, like 6'5", 6'6", stocky, strong shooters, off-ball players that can handle the ball a little bit and get others involved in the pick and roll. I don't think he's not the level of athlete that Desmond Bane is, and he probably won't be the level of defender that Desmond Bane is. But I think Khan could be a really productive NBA player. He performed well, really really well in EYBL. His drawbacks are the athleticism is pretty bad compared to NBA standards. He also wasn't really successful like creating off the dribble that well as far as him scoring. So, but I think his floor is really high in my opinion. Khan's floor is really high, and his ceiling is probably underrated. But I think the Nets get a good player at number 8, and then they run it back next year, trying to see if they can get a top pick, and add a star to help that rebuild continue. So that's what I'm doing number 8.
The only question is what, and you just said it. What is his ceiling, right? I do think his floor is pretty high still, but what is his ceiling? Like, I think if you're a team like Brooklyn, are you just going to be drafting here again? Probably, regardless of what you do, you're still going to be drafting right here again.
Right.
But I think maybe Khan is that piece to your Darren Peterson next year, your AJ DeBansa, right? A guy that you can put alongside to be the Klay Thompson to your Steph Curry, right? Like to be the number 2 option, to be that shooter. So again,
number 2 maybe. Two or three.
it doesn't wow me right now. But
Mhm.
again, I think to a team that's contending, right? To a Philly, to a Dallas, to even a San Antonio. I'll be honest, even to a San Antonio, a team like that at the top of the draft, if they would have fallen around here, I think that wows me a lot more because they are more win now versus a team like Brooklyn, who I think is among one of the most rebuilding teams possible. So I don't mind it though. I think you're just making sure you need to make sure you get that star coming up pretty soon.
Mhm.
So, with the 9th overall pick, the Toronto Raptors will select Kasparis Yakachonis. I think this is probably the most Toronto Raptors pick besides Kamen Malawak. I think that they are very, very desperate for a point guard. I don't think quickly is the answer, obviously. I think you have a lot of guys who are ball dominant, but you don't have anyone to get them the basketball. Scotty Barnes, again, is an initial kind of point of attack guy at times. RJ Barrett can be a point of attack guy. Brandon Ingram likes the ball in his hands, obviously, but he wants to kind of create his own space. I think Yakachonis though his shooting was very, very streaky at Illinois and bad a lot of the year. I think a lot of that is due to his team. I think his team was that team was very streaky as a whole. It wasn't really good at times, and I think that forced him to take a couple bad shots here and there. And again, he's a freshman as well. Like with Ace Bailey, I think his shot diet was a little bad. Ace Bailey really had no help. Yakachonis had more help for sure, and still just had very, very streaky games. But I think that the shooting can come. His form is fine. Like he can be a good shooter. I think that he definitely can develop. But I think that his playmaking, getting in the pick and roll with Pirtle, whoever it is, but just being able to distribute the basketball, become a pass first, like table setting point guard is very much in the realm of possibilities for Yakachonis. And I think this Toronto Raptors team has their scores already. You just need Yakachonis to be a 10, 15 point per game kind of night, kind of guy. And I think that if he can table set for these stars on the team, you can look forward to. I don't know what his ceiling really is, I guess. I was going to say, I don't really know what his ceiling is. But I think that, again, the role he will be asked to do, especially with the board as it plays out like this, I think that he fits it the best. I think that he could table set better than Trey Johnson. And I think the farther down you go, you just start taking swings at do you believe in a guy like Jace to really be a playmaker like that? I don't know. Like, I think as the guards kind of dwindle down, I think Yakachonis kind of stands alone as the best playmaker left.
So I was really high on Kasper Yakachonis at the beginning of this year. I had him at number 3. I had him in a tier with Dylan Harper at the beginning of the year. He was having an amazing season. Some things happened. He got injured, and as conference play started, as the competition got harder, he got worse. Kasper is a really good passer, I think, in the pick and roll. He can table set. He can get guys. He can get the ball to guys when they're open. He had really good chemistry with Tomislav Ivicic in the pick and roll. I think that he will be a good shooter. He shot like 33%, 32% from 3 this year, but the attempts were really high. Free throw percentage was really good. I think his percentage in the mid range was also fairly decent. And when he got to the rim, it wasn't like fairly often or anything like that, but he did finish well at the rim. He did have a tendency to draw a lot of fouls. My thing with him is he might not be an NBA athlete. He is really unathletic. Like he really is. He's not great at getting downhill without a screen, which I mean he's gonna have a lot of screens in the NBA. A lot of teams run screens. This team doesn't have like a really good screener roller for him. But his handle isn't the best. His craftiness isn't the best. Athleticism isn't the best at all. Wasn't great getting downhill to the rim. He doesn't really know how to weaponize his scoring, in my opinion. And to end the year, he was just generally just bad. He generally was bad. I think the elbow injury might have hurt him a lot, but he also isn't very strong with the ball. He turns the ball over a lot. He can get caught in the air sometimes. Yeah, but every prospect has their flaws. I still like Kasper generally. A lot of people fade him really well. I mean, fade him a lot, but I still think Yakachonis can be a solid point guard. That's just like getting people when they're open, moving the ball quickly. Hopefully, he can start taking care of the ball more, and maybe his handle can continue to grow. But he's a really bad athlete. He has 0 dunks on the year. Is that bad?
Right.
So with him coming in to this Raptors team, he can set things up for Scotty Barnes. He can set things up for Brandon Ingram. Emmanuel quickly knows how to play out the ball, and they still have RJ Barrett. So he can be. It'll be a fun team, whatever. But yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, after it's not that many it's these players are really flawed. I think in this draft, as they are every year. But like this year, I think it's like kind of deep, but it's not like a lot of star upside. Like the star, I think only people that have a chance to really be a star that I'm confident about is Dylan and Cooper. So after that, it's like take your pick of whoever you like. I was still on the Nets. It needs to be the Raptors. That's gonna be hell to add it. Rockets. All right, let me make this quick. I know you got to go somewhere. With the 10th overall pick, the Rockets select Trey Johnson. This team clearly needed shooting in the playoffs. They needed some more dynamic offense. Trey Johnson is the best shooter in his class. He's really good at shooting off the ball. Really, he's one of the best shooting prospects of this decade. in the last 10 years. Really good off the ball shooter. I think he was overtasked at Texas. He shouldn't have been their primary ball handler. Trey isn't a primary ball handler. He's not a point guard. But really good off the ball shooter. He can hit pull up jump shots. Trey needs to work on his shot selection. He has some really interesting shot selection to say the least. It's just generally like not the greatest. He also struggled to get to the rim in the half court. That volume was low, the efficiency was low, his finishing on layups was low. So his struggles surround shot selection, getting to the rim, but he comes into this team as a off the ball weapon that can knock down threes. He also, I think, is a much better passer than what he was given credit for. But he was just overtasked at Texas. What's concerning, it really is a defense and the shot selection. But he's going to the Rockets where they made Sengun into a good defender this year. I think Ime, if he stays on the Rockets, can whip him into a good defender and make the shot selection a little better. Having other players around that can create shots for him, like I'm in running show, and he comes off of pin downs and screens and curls, and based on out of bound plays where Trey can get open shots. They need the shooting, they need the scoring. It fits for me for the Rockets. Trey Johnson at this pick. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
What's the difference between him and Jalen Green right now?
Jalen Green was a pick and roll reliant player. He's nowhere near the shooter. Both of them have some questionable shot selection, but I think Jalen Green was better at getting to the rim. He just can't finish at the rim.
But this makes Jalen Green very expendable, correct?
Jalen Green doesn't need to be on the team regardless.
Okay.
I think they may trade this pick, but who knows?
Okay. At 11, to be honest, I get 13 as well, right?
I believe so, yes.
But 13 is the Spurs. No, Spurs are 14.
13 are Hawks.
Never mind. I thought I was going to be able to draft someone at 13. Never mind. Yeah, I think ideally, like, again, the weirdest player on this team is Anthony Simons. I don't get Anthony Simons and where he's going to be in a few years. Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant seem to be expendable, seem to be guys who should not be on this team anymore. They do not fit the trajectory. So I don't know. And I think that, especially with how the draft has fallen out, you're kind of picking normally more forwards unless you're taking a swing on a guy. With the 11th overall pick, Portland will go with Carter Bryant from Arizona. I think that Carter Bryant is he might be the best plug-and-play player in this draft, it seems like, with his shooting and defensive versatility. Again, his numbers don't look crazy from college, but he was just a great role player at Arizona. He was able to shoot the three ball and defend. And I think with this team, again, I think you're looking for your stars coming up here. Klingon obviously played really well defensively this year. Tumani Kamara the same way. I think going Colin Murray-Boyles will be interesting, but you're going to crowd that power forward room with Colin Murray-Boyles and Tumani Kamara both being defensive dominant guys. I think ideally you want to go with a guard. You still want to see what you got from Scoot. So maybe a two guard, but Anthony Simons there. It's weird. They don't really have that much flexibility, it seems like. But Denny Avdia obviously gave you really, really good minutes. I think if you're looking for a six-man option right here, I think Carter Bryant provides the shooting on all three levels to be honest, but he also provides a defensive versatility. I don't know. I think that he's a pretty easy plug-and-play guy to fit wherever, but I really think that it's a safe pick for them. I don't think you're really taking that much of a swing on a guy like Igor Denham. Yeah, I just think that like overall the risk reward factor right here at 11 is not crazy. So I think you get a safe pick with Carter Bryant.
Yeah, I like Carter Bryant. He's a pretty good offensive rebounder. Like the numbers with Carter Bryant don't pop out at you. No. He was pretty underutilized at Arizona. They were a lot better when they started playing him more. But yeah, I think the Blazers maybe can use another forward. I think he's gonna be able to hit spot up threes. He's gonna be able to defend really well. Crash the glass. I think he needs to grow with putting the ball on the floor, making passes, all that type of stuff. He's like a really solid 3-and-D player. You know what you're getting with Carter Bryant, pretty much. So yeah, good pick. I probably would have made the same thing. All right. With the 12th overall pick, the Bulls are going to select Colin Murray-Boyles. I'm really, really high on Colin Murray Boyles. He's one of my favorite players in the draft class. If you haven't watched the video I have on him, go watch it. I think it's one of my best videos. I was just praising him the whole time. The pause with Colin Murray Boyles with NBA fans and scouts, whatever, is that he's only 6'7", about 230 pounds or whatever. He's undersized for like a 4'5". He's not the most athletic. He can't shoot. So those things are three real concerns, and I understand why they are concerns. With me, I'm so high on him because I think he's one of the best defenders I've ever watched, ever. His spatial awareness, hands, positioning, upper body strength, motor is just some of the best I've ever seen. His IQ on defense, some of the best I've ever seen. He's a really good passer. In my opinion, his feel on both sides of the ball is really good. He's a good driver. He's a good post-up player. I think he can operate in a short roll and dribble handoff situations as well. I think he is an underrated driver, and that makes his potential a lot higher than what people think. But yeah, if he turns into a star or whatever, it would be more like a Paul Millsap type of thing, or in a lower role, a Draymond Green type of. Like, he reminds me of Draymond Green a lot. Obviously, the Bulls do not have Stephen Curry or Klay Thompson anywhere near their roster, but I do think they need another big, and I think Colin Murray Boyles is simply the best player on the board right now. He's still pretty young considering he played 2 years of college basketball. Was one of the most productive and efficient players in college basketball. So I love Colin. That's a good pick for the Bulls.
I think that the Spurs win the draft even more than Dallas if they can somehow get him to fall to them.
I was thinking that that'd be the Hall, but I couldn't let him slip anymore.
I think if they walk out of here with Harper and CMB, I think their defensive versatility in the front court disgusting, and that's not even doing anything with Giannis. And you obviously get just so much versatility up in the backcourt as well. And again, I get you say they don't fit, but you have the ability to have, whether it's Harper and Castle, it's not going to be. It's going to be Harper probably and De'Aaron. But bringing one of the guys as a 6-man, like, you just have so much going for you there in San Antonio. With the 13th overall pick, the Atlanta Hawks will select Asa Newell from Georgia. I think that Clint Capella is obviously on the way out. I think that hopefully Asa Newell can be the dynamic pick and roll big that Clint Capella was. You're just putting him, whatever, I don't know, 10 years younger. I really don't think that I love many of the prospects on the board right now. I think that if you're going to go, I'm going to go big. You have Jalen Johnson already on the wing who you're trying to develop. If you can get, again, this team has been the same situation, I feel like, for the last 6 years, 5-6 years with Trae Young. They've been super disrespectful to this team. You just drafted Reese Ashe. You have Jalen Johnson. You got your two wings. Hopefully you can try and build out the front court as best you can. I don't think you're loving the two positions as much. Unless you're going, are you going Jace here? If you're going Neat Clifford, if you're going Igor Denham, I just think that you can get. Again, you're going to try and cash in your chips. Go with a high upside guy like Asa Newell. Again, I think his Georgia numbers are. Georgia was just a terrible team this year. Like, I'm sorry, Georgia wasn't a great basketball team this year. They snuck into the playoff into the tournament, but Asa Newell was a lone bright spot on their team. He showed good upside. He showed good versatility. He was just very impactful. He was explosive. I think that on both sides of the floor. And again, you have Onyeka Okongwu. Past that, I don't really know what you got. That, like, defensively in your front court. Like, again, Clint, do you love? Yeah, unless you love George Niang, but I just don't feel any type of way about that. So I think that they go with Asa.
The thing is, he's a 4. He's not a 5. So it's like you already have Jalen Johnson at the 4. So I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie, Max. Asa, he's a good athlete, probably nearly elite athlete, almost there. He was productive last year, one of the most productive freshmen in the class. My problems are, I think his field needs work. Not that great of a passer. He did shoot the ball. He shot it decently well to end the year too. Maybe you think he could shoot the ball, but not a great rim protector. Not a great passer. Like the 0.9 assists, the assist turnover ratio wasn't good. Wasn't the best putting the ball on the floor. I don't think he has like a lot of ball skills. it's a fine pick. I just feel like maybe they could got like Thomas Sorber here. Who else is on the board for them that I'll probably like more than them? Let's see. Nick Clifford could have been cool. They need another wing. Richard Fleming, I like. Jace Richardson off the bench would have been cool. They need a backup point guard really badly.
I'm just not looking at drafting. You drafted what, Buffkin last or 2 years ago? Like that's what you thought was going to happen?
For the whole year. I don't even know. You're probably not making drafts. I mean, Noah Esingay is still on the board. You probably not even making decisions with Kobe Buffkin in mind anymore. I mean, he hasn't been anything. I love Buffkin. He's one of my favorite players out that draft class, but he's been injured. He hasn't been on the floor. Hasn't played for you. It's like I don't know. But Asa could be a lob threat, solid rebounder or whatever. Yeah, I mean it's not the worst, but
I just don't love it.
I want to get you shit for one pick, Max. So that's an improvement. I'm getting you shit for one pick this whole draft. So that's an improvement.
Oh, thank you.
With the 14th overall pick and the last pick of this mock, the Spurs are going to select Noah Esingay. This pick will go along with what the Spurs like. They like upside. He's from overseas or whatever. He's French. Really productive player in a good pro league. He's a really good defender. He is really good at getting to the foul line. The three-point shot has been developing over the last few weeks where he's knocking those down. He's put the ball on the floor a couple of times, even though I don't think he can really like dribble or anything like that. He's a really good cutter, really good in transition, really good defender. That's the baseline you're getting. He is one of the youngest players in his class, and he's got better and better and better over the last few years. So there is a path for him to have like outlier development. He's got comps to Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not making this up. I've seen it. I've seen it. He's really his physical tools are great. He needs to put on weight, but he has the baseline of great defense. He has a baseline of great defense, and like cutting and getting rebounds and getting out of transition. He needs to show he can put the ball on the floor. He can knock down shots, and make connected reads as a passer. But hey, at 14, you are great getting Noah Esingay at 14. He can fit nicely alongside Wemby in the front court in the future. The defense versatility would be amazing. So yeah, that's going to do it for the lottery. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have made this far, make sure you guys leave comments on all of our picks. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. We have more draft content coming out very, very soon. I'm going to get in the lab, do some videos like I did earlier in the draft process. If you guys have any players you want to get scouted, we will also be getting back to like NFL content pretty soon here. The NBA playoffs are going on right now. My last day of school is tomorrow. I'm super excited to really attack content creation this summer. So yeah, man, stay tuned. We love y'all, and we out.